And with that being said, it is time for us to move away from fantasy and go to the superhero genre. Because the time has come for The Incredibles. Incredibles 3. Oh man, I mean, ever since 2018, I have to be honest with you. Ever since 2018, I really hoped that we actually might get a sequel. Because The Incredibles for me was always a franchise that it needs to be a trilogy. You know,
Yeah.
I always wanted Brad Bird to finish his work with Incredibles. And I was really hoping. But of course, Brad Bird being Brad Bird, I was like, maybe eventually he's not going to do it, or maybe he will. I don't know. Because he's a guy who once he's done with a movie, he's going on a straight up vacation, or in this case, working with Ray Gunn in secret. But I'm really happy, that Incredibles 3 was revealed, and then it's going to be, that it's going to basically be the final chapter of the trilogy and everything. So, my first question to you uh, is basically, what was your first, what was your overall reaction hearing that Incredibles is going to get a third movie?
I mean, it doesn't really surprise me because I feel like the first two were pretty successful financially. So it wasn't, and aside from that, I thought they were good. So I think that it's not a huge surprise um, that it got that they're getting like an end of the trilogy. I think it took. I think the Incredibles. It the movies are a little bit more spaced out than I'd like them to be, admittedly, but I'm not overly surprised that they're doing an Incredibles 3.
I mean, I'm telling you, the on the I think it was like in wait, when was it? Yeah, it was back in August 2024 when Incredibles 3 was revealed, and that revelation for me, it came out of nowhere, out of nowhere. Because like, I mean, sure, as an Incredibles fan, I wished that Brad Bird could do a third one and everything, but literally that announcement for me came out of nowhere, and and I can tell you, like, my reaction was like, I was like super hyped and excited that we're gonna get that the Incredibles is gonna get a third chapter. But again, the overall revelation, it came out of nowhere, literally.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised with the timing.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I was kind of surprised with the timing, just because it like you said, it came out of nowhere. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I'm excited for it.
Absolutely. And also, I even like a few months ago, I actually, or even like a year ago, uh, I did, I actually back in 2025, I actually did a Incredibles 3 kind of like theory slash discussion. And by the way, if you guys were interested to see it, the link is going to be in the video description down below. By the way, I did a video about, like, what can we expect from Incredibles 3, what the story could be about, who this time is going to be the center of the story, the whole thing. And I said it before. Okay, I said it before that this time the movie is going to be about either the family or the kids. And as luck will have it, they revealed that the movie is going to focus on the children. So I can't believe I was like, I mean, can't believe I was right, because it's the logical explanation. I mean, remember, the first one was about the father, Mr. Incredible. The second one was about Elastigirl. So the logical decision would be that the third one is going to be about the kids. You know, and the one other thing I really love, they revealed that the villain will focus on the idea of how not all superheroes are good.
Yeah, I'm kind of interested in that too. I'm kind of like I get the idea there, but I'm not entirely sure like what that means.
Yeah, because like the thing is, like the thing is that when I was doing my Incredibles 3 like theory, uh my actually kind of like my route, my overall idea that I had was basically to explore Violet and Dash, like basically how they're handling like their private lives and their superhero lives. Like for example, Violet is struggling to kind of like balance the private life and her superhero life. Like for example, like friends, boyfriend, college, things like that. Because in my version, I my movie the movie would have had a time skip in my theory.
Hmm.
And also for when it comes to Dash's side, my theory was like that he takes the whole superhero gag like kind of like a celebrity stunt, basically, in which like he's basically arrogant, full of himself, and kind of like he sees all the people as like adoring fans, that he's like unstoppable until like one thing comes up and he fucks it up and he realizes, no, I'm not a celebrity. It's not all like being famous and everything. No, no, no. Superhero is a big deal. So that's kind of like the idea I had, and I also had an idea for Jack Jack as well. But again, it's a story that in my head that I played where basically they're older, but according to Brad Bird, uh, basically he indicated that Incredibles 3 will not actually age up the characters; they will remain the same, and which is kind of a bummer, which kind of also gave me an idea that the movie is going to be either like it's gonna basically be either exactly where Incredibles 2 stopped, or it's gonna be like few months, or maybe at least a year after the second movie. So basically, not the time jump is not gonna be that long.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way as you do about aging them up. I kind of feel like maybe they should do that would have been maybe like a better avenue. I don't know. I mean,
I think so too.
I'd have to think about that, but I think it would have been a better avenue. I think it would have been a little bit more interesting. I mean, but I can kind of see the logic for not aging them up too. I don't know. I have to think about that.
Mm,
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of torn because I can kind of see I would personally age them up because I think with like all the gaps, but I think with the gaps between all the movies, I think that would make more sense.
yeah, I mean, I personally think for a third movie, I think they should have definitely had a time jump. Like I'm not saying 10 years or something like that, like no, but like at least like 2 to 3 years.
Well, kind of. I'm going to compare it to Pokemon only because it it's kind of doing the thing that Pokemon did that kind of annoyed the living heck out of me, which was like Ash was 10 for 30 years, or in the Fairly Odd Parents, Timmy was 10 for 20 years or something.
Again, I haven't watched Pokemon in a long time, so my mind is right now is a bit of a blank.
Well, like neither one of those shows really did like a time skip or time jump, and like The Incredibles doesn't really seem to do it either, even though like it should. I mean,
Hmm.
it would make sense to, but I mean, I'm going to be curious to see what the story is.
Yeah, I mean, for what I've seen, like I said, the only kind of like story clues that we have is basically like I said. So I'm gonna just simply show that I'm gonna simply tell you. So again, I'll repeat myself. The only like story clues that we have is that the story is gonna follow is gonna focus on the children in a quest to prove they can be real superheroes, and that the villain will focus on the idea on how not all superheroes are good. Then of course you have this concept art of like I think like you have Bob like either putting bandages on himself or something. Like basically, there's a concept where he's sitting and you see like his original Mister Incredible outfit, like I think like some sort of like a chamber or something, and he's like, for what I've seen from the concept art, he's like in some kind of a pain or something. Because I mean, they kind of describe it as like Bob feels like he's washed.
Hmm.
So that, and also we have another information, which is basically the SHL, the superhero league from Incredibles 2. They will also make an appearance in Incredibles 3.
I could. Okay.
Yeah,
So,
it basically it's the group that Winston Dever created.
hmm.
Yeah. So basically, those are so far that I have. I'm trying to see all the news, all the information I have here. Yeah, so far that's the only clues sort of that we have for the story. So basically, it focuses on the kids. The main villain is going to be basically an idea that not all superheroes are good. We're going to have the superhero league appearing again, and also it appears like Bob must be having some kind of a bad time during the movie. Yeah. Yeah, and basically, yeah, the information with the kids, they're on a quest to prove themselves to be, great superheroes. Which kind of also goes to the theory that I was making in Incredibles 3 movie, in Incredibles 3 video that I made a year ago. It kind of goes also with the theory I had, But overall, that's basically it. Also, let's not forget to mention, uh, Brad Bird, he's gonna be producing, and also he also co-wrote the script for Incredibles 3, but unfortunately, because of a certain movie that you and I talked about a few days back, he's not gonna come back to direct Incredibles 3.
Now,
And
that just made me. Here's some interesting trivia that probably nobody really wants to know, but I'm just going to say it anyway.
go ahead.
In terms of animated characters, Mr. Incredible would be dating Mr. Incredible dated Bo Peep. Any
Oh,
any fan,
oh God.
any fans of Young Sheldon out there probably understand that,
Oh my God. You really had to go there.
because the voice of Mr. Incredible plays the baseball coach on Young Sheldon who dates Mima, and
Yeah, I
Mima
know.
is the voice of Bo Peep.
Yeah, I know. I know. Which kind of brings me to another thing. Thankfully, you mentioned it already. So far, also when it comes to the cast, we don't know anything. Like we know that the original cast members are returning. The question only I have is that I think Dash might be recasted again,
Yeah,
because remember, like the reason, because some people were complaining like why the original actor did not come back as Dash. I'm like, well, time out. First and foremost, it's been 14 years since the first movie, and when the voice actor voiced Dash back then, he was a kid. So now he's an adult, or should I say, at least he was a young adult at the time when Incredibles 2 came out. So naturally, they had to replace him. So I think that if they're keeping if the rumors are true, if they're keeping the characters on the same age, then that means that Dash is definitely going to be recasted again.
yeah, they'll probably have to recast him.
Yeah, because I can see Violet. I mean, I can see the voice actress for Violet. I think I can see her still doing it. The voice actors for Mr. Incredible, Elastigirl, Frozone. Like I can see all of them returning. Also, one more thing, because I think Brad Bird and the crew, I think they should definitely do it. They need to finally give Frozone's wife an actual physical appearance this time.
Yes.
We heard her in the first movie, we heard her voice in the second movie, and by the way, she was supposed to appear in the second movie physically, but they scrapped it. So I hope that for Incredibles 3, I hope they finally make her appear. Because
Yeah,
because
that would be cool.
I mean, it needs to be, because this is now a trilogy, and this is definitely going to be the final chapter of The Incredibles. So, as a final chapter, she needs to appear physically. She needs to appear.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Also, I guess Brad Bird is going to return as Edna Mode. Yeah, I think like the little darling, I think she's going to return as well. Um, but I'm really kind of curious who's going to be this new villain, because from the concept art that we had, he's definitely going to have cape, costume, and everything. Which kind of really makes me happy that finally we're going to have an actual super villain this time.
Yeah, that's going to be cool.
But by the way, do you know who the director is for Incredibles 3?
I saw, but I forget.
Basically, he did other two Pixar movies. One not one basically that for me personally deserves more respect. The Good Dinosaur, and also he directed Elemental, and his name is Peter Sohn.
Oh, okay. Yes, yes, yes. I know who that is.
Yeah, and people forget Peter Sohn worked on Incredibles with Brad Bird before, because that's so typical that when, for example, when they announced that Brad Bird is not going to return as a director but mostly as a producer and writer, people already started jumping overboard immediately. They immediately started abandoning ship because okay, Brad Bird is not directing Incredibles 3, it's going to be awful. Time out. Pete Docter and Brad Bird personally selected Peter Sohn as a director for Incredibles 3. If they personally selected him, that he's going to be the right choice to direct this movie. Not to mention that Peter Sohn, like I said, worked previously on Pixar projects. He worked previously with Brad Bird. So, what's the problem? I mean, you tell me, TK.
Yeah, I don't get I don't understand why they're. I don't get that. I mean,
Me neither.
I guess people will just complain about anything.
Yeah,
No,
unfortunately.
I mean they will, but yeah, I think this is just one of those cases where people are just going to complain about anything.
Yeah, and also the other news I have is it looks like they already started voice recording, because I remember that there was an old news that they're gonna start recording this March. So I guess I guess like they already started voice recording. Um, but again, you do know when Incredibles 3 is gonna be released, right?
Yeah, 2028, right?
June 16th, 2028. So they have plenty of time for everything.
Yeah, that's a good 2 year. That's a good 2 years off. I mean, that's. I'm just thinking about 2028. There's not a lot announced yet for 2028, right?
No, so far there are only few movies actually I know that are from 2028. Like one of them being the DC anime movie Dynamic Duo, um, with a few others, but again they're escaping my mind right now. But again, June, again choosing June as the release month for Incredibles 3, I think that's actually a pretty good choice.
Yeah, that's a smart move.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Kind of makes me wonder. This goes off topic a little bit, but it kind of makes me very curious with the new Avengers movies coming out this year and next year. Kind of makes
Mm-hmm.
me very curious about them because most of the Avengers movies have come out in the late spring, early summer. These are coming out in the winter. I'm curious.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be curious if the response is the same, if the response is more, or if the response is a little bit less.
Look, I guess it all goes down to basically keeping up your interest for the movie.
I don't know.
I mean, some people.
I feel
Go
like
go ahead. Sorry.
I feel like with I feel like with the Marvel movies, I don't know. I kind of feel like the summer is the better time for them.
Well, yeah, yeah, I suppose so because Avengers: Infinity War, Avengers: Endgame. I think also Avengers. Wait, did Avengers: Age of Ultron also released during the spring or not?
Yeah,
The Avengers.
yeah.
Uh-huh. I don't know. I mean, again, the I guess, like, I mean, look, Doomsday and Secret War is a different story because there were all sorts of like problems they had with production and everything, and the timing and everything. So, like, that's basically a subject on its own. But I don't know. I mean, personally, spring or winter, I think like both times are basically profitable for like an Avengers movie. But personally, I think like the winter might be much more preferable for movies like that.
Yeah, I mean the thing that I mean, I'm sure they're banking on is the holiday season. I'm sure they're banking on that. And I
Mm.
mean that might be a good thing to bank on.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, absolutely. But so I mean, for June 16th, let's hope that this is going to be the same for Incredibles 3.
Yeah,
But
fingers
again,
crossed.
uh, I mean, fingers crossed because here's the thing. Like I said, we waited 14 years for an Incredibles sequel, and it came out in 2018. Now we're in 2020. Now the movie's going to come out in 2018. 10 years is the gap. Okay, 10 years. So again, I'm really hoping that when Incredibles 3 comes out, that the fandom is still strong. That's what I'm
Yeah.
hoping. That the
They're too
fandom and the interest that is still strong.
they're too spaced out.
Yeah, yeah.
I
I
mean,
mean, like, I mean,
I love them. I love the concepts of them. I love the animation. I love it all. I just think they're way, way, way too spaced out.
I mean, I was like, I mean, when the first movie came out, I was like, I think I was like between 10 and 13 years old. And then basically when Incredibles 2 came out, I was like in my 20s. And now I'm gonna be bloody. I'm gonna be 33 when Incredibles 3 comes out. Jesus. Oh my god. I mean, literally, that is what literally you can call uh like old Incredibles flesh before me.
I'm a 33-year-old man hoping.
Like,
I'm a 33-year-old man hoping they announce a Bugs Life sequel still.
no, forget that. I don't think that's gonna happen. I mean, it's Dare to Dream, Dare to Dream, but realistically, I don't think that's gonna happen. But we shall see. We just have to. We shall see. But so far, at least we got the Incredibles 3, so that's at least something we can talk about. Bugs Life, I kind of always say it's like a one-off thing, and that's it. But we shall see. We're definitely gonna see if what's gonna be next. Okay. So with that being said, okay, here's a question I have for you. Okay, before we can jump to other topics, I want to ask you this. First question: do you think that this will be the final chapter of The Incredibles?
That's a good question. I think it could be. I mean, I think it'd be smart if it was like keeping it a trilogy.
Mm.
But with Pixar's track record of doing that, I doubt it.
Yeah, I mean, just think of Toy Story.
Toy Story should be a trilogy, but I mean, yeah, with their track record, there's no way it's going to be the last one.
Well, yeah, but honestly, I think Incredibles 3 might be the last one. And I'll tell you why. Because even though Brad Bird did the movies for Pixar, they are still Brad Bird's babies. Let's put it that way. The Brad Bird still has control over the Incredibles, and whatever they wish to do with the Incredibles, they have to go through him. So again, and of course with the type of person that Brad Bird is, as and also with the type of director he is, and all, I think Incredibles 3 might be the last one. I think like Incredibles 3 was always meant to be nothing more than a trilogy.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping it's the last one, but I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence, but I'm hoping it is.
Okay, fair enough. And the second question I have for you is, do you think at the end of Incredibles 3 there might be a time jump? Now remember, at the end of Incredibles 3.
I mean, assuming it's the last one, I'd say yes.
Yeah, because that's honestly also what I think. I think like that's what I believe it could be, and also that's also what I believe it should be. Like for example, I always can imagine like a time jump where basically you see Violet, Dash, and Jack like much more older and everything. Dash and Violet, they're like professional superheroes, and basically you see Elastigirl, Mr. Incredible, and Frozen basically like older, already like retired superheroes, basically watching the young ones basically taking over their mantle. It's kind of like the next generation of superheroes. It's kind of like the kind of like time jump and last scene of the movie that I always kind of like depicted.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I could kind of see that.
Yeah, I mean, for now we just have to wait and see. I mean, we still have a year to go, so anything can happen. But again, I'm still sticking. I'm still like standing my ground and saying that The Incredibles 3 is gonna be the last one. I think it will because it has been like a decade like between every single one of them, and I'm like, I don't think Pixar. I don't think they'll be smart enough for them to like do movies that are basically like a decade between them. Like it's not. I think not only that it's not wise, but I don't think it's also profitable.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, guys. Now the question I have for you.
You do that. I'll be right back.
Okay. Okay. While we're waiting, question is for you guys. What do you think about Incredibles 3? What do you think the story is going to be all about? Who do you think is going to return? Who do you think are we going to see some new voice cast in it as well? What do you think about the villain? What do you think? Do you think that the Incredibles 3 is going to be the last chapter, or do you think they're going to make more of them? Basically, everything about the Incredibles 3 in general, just put in the comment section down below and share with us your shadowy wisdom.